Welcome, everybody, to episode 195 of the DC Comics News podcast. Can you believe that? Just that close to episode 200. It's crazy. Well, welcome, DC fans. I'm Brad Flicky. With me today is the Geekopedia himself, Steve J. Ray. Steve, how you doing?
I'm great, brother. Always happy to talk everything DC with you, my friend.
Indeed. We got some good stories today.
Yes, we do.
Batman stuff going on. So let's just jump right into the movie news. Up first is we got news that there is going to be a sequel to the animated Batman Ninja movie. This has been kind of a fan favorite of the DC animated movies for a while, so we're finally getting a sequel. Steve, what do you think? What do you think of this?
Well, the movie was a big hit. A lot of fans loved it. It was a little bit divisive, obviously, because the style's very, very different to anything we've seen before. But it's action-packed, brilliant new designs, and brilliant new looks at some of our favourite characters. But that was obviously a time travel story with Grodd taking the team back in time. But the new film seems to be called Batman Ninja versus Yakuza League. And I'm sure that the Yakuza are a late 19th, 20th century thing. So if it does go back in time, it's not going to be that far this time. So definitely an intriguing prospect. Batman's tangled with the Japanese mob several times in the comics. So it'll be really fascinating to see what happens in animation, I think. So, yeah, I mean, what do you make of this story? Obviously, I know that you're a big fan of the designs of the original. So what do you make of this one?
Yeah, that's the thing is that with the original, the thing that I liked the best was the character designs. I thought those were really well done. Story-wise, it's not my favorite of the animated movies. It was a little hokey, but still a lot of fun. So it's not up there with my favorite of the animated movies, but I did enjoy it. But the word here that sticks out to me is not Yakuza, but League. Is this somehow connected to
Legion of Doom or the baddies? Yeah,
or even somehow the Justice League. It's that could be interesting. Legion of Doom, maybe maybe we'll see. Gives us an opening to see more designs of some of the Batman villains that we didn't get to see in the first one. So that'll be fun. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it more for what it's going to look like than what the story's going to be, judging by the first one. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It should be a good time. And we also finally got a release date for the Superman Christopher Reeve story documentary that's been it's been getting a lot of buzz. It's finally going to come to theaters. And what'd you make of this?
Well, obviously, you and I have been chatting about this. I was going to say for weeks, but we recorded last week's episode a week ago. But the one before that, we didn't record. We recorded back in March. So we've actually been talking about this story for months and wondering whether it would just be on streaming, whether we'd get it on TV at all in the UK. But the fact it's getting a theatrical release gives me hope that I'll get to see it, because we've said it time and time again. Christopher Reeve wasn't just everyone's first great big screen Superman. After his horrific accident, he was an inspiration to millions all over the world. The way he fought it, the way he helped so many charities and so many people who'd been through similar accidents. So to get his life story and for it to be called Superman, and for it to get a theatrical release and for Warner to buy it after it did so well in the independent film festivals, is a tribute to the man. And it couldn't make me happier. I need to see this film any way I can. He's one of my all-time heroes, an inspiration, and not just for playing Superman, for the man he was. And if that's not a reason to watch someone's life story, then I really don't know what is. I mean, this is a film that has got me stoked, excited, and inspired. How do you feel about it?
I love that it's coming to theaters, but I'm not so thrilled that it's by Fathom Events. Now, I don't know if Fathom Events is over in the UK, but Fathom Events is kind of a very limited release. Yeah.
Oh.
They release things in cinemas for like a weekend, and then that's it. And I'm a big moviegoer. If there's a weekend where I don't get into a movie theater, I get antsy. So I have the A-list from AMC where you can go to 3 movies a week, and Phantom Events movies are not part of that. So it's going to be a very limited run, and it's going, it's going to be like 2 weekends, and you're going to have to, jump through a little hoops to get in. I love that it's getting out, and I don't know the legalities when it becomes Phantom Events, how that goes with streaming, because a lot of stuff that they release doesn't go to streaming, it appears, at least not for a while. So that is kind of a bummer, but I'm glad that people are going to get to see it. Like you said, he's such an inspiration. It's just it's one of those things where why hasn't somebody made this already? And Warner Brothers should have been on top of this almost and had one made back when the DC universe had its own separate streaming platform. That would have been the perfect avenue for a documentary like this. I just hope that it does come to streaming, and I don't have to wait.
I mean, it should, because Warner did buy the rights. I'm sure it'll appear on Max
I'm sure it will.
Or somewhere else out there. So if that happens, I should still be able to get a screener from Warner over here. And if not, if I have to resort to nefarious means to see it, I will, because I really want to see this film. Really want to see this film.
I think the demand is there, so just keep fingers crossed. Maybe I'm being cynical about the whole Phantom Events things, but we'll see. And we also, speaking of Superman, James Gunn has released yet another behind the scenes photo on his Instagram. What did you make of this photo?
I didn't recognize everybody, but the faces I do recognize are fantastic. Obviously, I think I see the villain, the new Perry White, obviously Nathan Fillion. Yep. But with every picture that comes out, and when he says, James Gunn with some people I love a lot on the set of Superman, and I love, again, the fact that it's just called Superman. Again, it just makes me happy. It gives me more fire to see the film. And when you see all these people smiling in the sun, looking like they have a good time, having a good time making this film, it just does the soul good, doesn't it? It makes you more excited, raises the anticipation for the film itself. I mean, every little thing I'm seeing, from the costume to the behind the scenes to comments, give me the Man of Steel on the big screen ASAP. I'm right there. I cannot wait. What about yourself, brother?
That's so funny, because I was thinking when I looked at this picture, I was like, oh, I hope Steve recognizes these people. And you didn't either. And I think it's the sunglasses and the hats. So, but yeah, James Gunn is some kind of king of social media. He really knows how to keep people interested, stoke the fires, give you just enough information to be curious and to keep coming back for more.
The just enough is right, because he gives one word sentences when he has to, when he cuts down detractors, when he poo-poos nonsense and false rumors. He literally, it's one sentence, no, that's not right. And I love that. He doesn't get into arguments. He doesn't start writing essays. Yeah, he's a wizard.
And that's good, because there's just so many dark rabbit holes you can sink into if you start engaging certain segments, especially. One of the things that I always love about, say, going to cons is that it feels very welcoming. I've never felt not embraced by the community, but that changes so quick when you get online. And the fact that he doesn't engage that is a great thing. So, good for him. I can't, and I say this all the time, but any little more information we get just makes me kind of more excited. Like the picture that we were talking about last week with the little meteor thing out the window while he's putting on the boots. It's like it says so much but still saying so little. It gets you curious. But anyway, yeah, any pictures that James Gunn is willing to share, I want to see. So I'm psyched for this movie.
Amen to that.
and I think it's going to be kind of the return a bit of comic book movies next year after we've had a little bit of scrambling. Nobody knows what's going on with these movies, but now this might be just what we need to get people back into it. So I'm really excited.
And if Superman doesn't do it, nobody will.
Yeah.
Because this film's got me so excited.
Yeah. Yeah. And now we're going to move to some TV news. And up first is that it looks like Carmen Falcone might return from the dead in the Penguin series, played by a different actor. What did you think of this?
You see, for me, I don't think he is returning from the dead. I think Mark Strong's going to play the younger version of Carmine, a la Godfather Part 2, because we know this is going to be the tale of Oswald Cobblepot's rise within the ranks to his eventual taking over, I believe, from Carmine. Sal Maroni might have something to say about that, and the casting for him we've already talked about, and it's fantastic. But to me, it's like it's going to be a generational thing, and that's going to be fantastic. Because if it adds layers of history and we see more of Gotham of the past, it's going to be great. And Mark Strong, yes, he's a fellow Brit, but the guy in my book can do no wrong. Everything I've seen him in, I've loved him in. He's got strong DC cred playing Sivana. He played Sinestro in the Green Lantern movie. And to me, he's a fantastic character actor. He can play villains. He can do comedy. He can do action. He can do dark. He can do funny. So if he's playing a young Carmine and we see Carmine's ranks mirroring Oswald's climb through the ranks at the same time on this show, that just adds a whole new layer of drama and tension and history to the program, which you and I are already really excited about. So for me, if that's the way they go, it would make a lot more sense, because even though he's not a million years far away in age from John Turturro, he does look a lot younger. So for me, it will make more sense if they don't bring him back from the dead, if it's his life story. But obviously, that's just my take. What did you make of it?
Yeah, I felt the same thing. Just because he's there doesn't mean it's not in the flashback. We don't know anything about this series, so we don't know how much is told in flashback. Mark Strong, great actor. I liked the Green Lantern movie more than most people did, and I would have liked.
I love it.
Yeah,
I like that film a lot.
I thought mainly that was because of Peter Sarsgaard. I thought he did a pretty good job as a villain, but I was kind of looking forward to seeing Mark Strong come back and play an evil Sinestro in a Green Lantern too. So, but anyway, yeah, I like him as an actor, and I think he would be a great job. And I wonder too if maybe they would. You're seeing all the prosthetics on Colin Farrell. Who's to say they wouldn't do something with Mark Strong to make him look a little more like a young John Turturro or whoever? So, yeah, I think this is just going to be in flashbacks. If he was back from the dead, they could have just gotten John Turturro to do it. So, yeah, I agree. I don't think he's coming back from the dead. And another bit of TV news is that we got a trailer for My Adventures with Superman Season 2. And that the show will be coming on to Europe in July. Now, have you been able to see any of My Adventures with Superman yet?
Well, I don't know where I can catch Adult Swim in the UK, and the trailer does say Adult Swim UK. So if that is the case, I'm going to try and track down season 1 first, because obviously I haven't seen any. But all I'm hearing about this show is great things. Yeah, I'm hearing great characterization. I'm seeing incredible animation from the new trailer, new character designs, new ways of looking at things. I'm loving Jimmy. I'm loving Lois. I'm loving Superman. The villains that are coming up look fascinating. Hopefully that hasn't spoilt too much of season 1 for me, but I'm just going to track down where Adult Swim. If it's part of Cartoon Network, then I'm going to have trouble because I don't get paid for any of the kids channels, but maybe for a couple of months I'll subscribe and give it a look, because for what I can tell, this show is a worthy successor to the classic Bruce, Tim, Alan Burnett Paul Dini Superman animated series of the late 90s and early 2000s. And if that's the case, well, you know how we feel about DC animation. You know how I feel about the Trinity, Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. This is a show I really want to watch. So the fact we are definitely getting it in Europe and in the UK, because this is Adult Swim UK, yeah, excited. Just hope I get a chance to actually see it. Obviously, you've had it there for a while. Obviously, I know you've spoken about this first season. Is it as great as it looks?
Yeah, it's really good. The animation style is great. It's very character driven. It's very wholesome, which is kind of what you expect out of a good Superman story. I think it just goes back to one of those things that I've always said about, it's a great time to be a DC fan, and it's a lot of that is because DC's not afraid to do interesting things with the characters, and this is a great example of that. I think it would be worth you, if you have to get a Cartoon Network subscription for a little bit, to be able just to go through the first season. It's worth it. I think you get a kick out of it, and I think that it is a worthy successor to the Superman animated series that's so near and dear to people's hearts. So
are they super long seasons, or is it like 10, 12 episodes that are easy to watch?
I believe
they're probably only about 30 minutes.
I have to catch up on it.
Well,
I have to catch up on a lot of the episodes too. Now, don't quote me on this, but I believe it's in the 20s. It might not. It might be. I could absolutely be wrong. So.
But they're only 30-minute episodes, though, aren't they? It's not like they're a full hour.
No.
You can get through those quite quickly.
Yeah, but you can. They're like potato chips. You can't just eat just one. You want to go back and watch.
Once you pop, you just can't stop.
Yep. So you'll probably get to them really quick. So.
Well, in that case, I look forward to it.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
And on that news, we'll go from animated drawing of our favourite superheroes to, well, hey, the thing we love the most and where it all came from, the comic book news. And there are some great comic book stories coming out this week. The first, again, you guys get auctions for all the amazing books in the States all the time, but finally a UK auction house, Excalibur Auctions, has got copies of Superman #1 and Batman #1 graded for sale, going on auction very soon, and they're starting at incredibly reasonable prices. I mean, I know they're not grade 6s and above, they're quite low grades, but to have them slabbed and to own those two pieces of history, dude, my mind is blown. What did you make of this story?
What blew my mind is that I didn't realize that none of those had ever been auctioned off in Europe.
First time ever.
That is crazy to me. That makes you realize how rare these really are. And it doesn't matter what grade it is. It's going to go for a small fortune. I mean, that's just, what was it? I think £20,000.
20,000 for Superman, which is roughly 23-24k US, and only 5,000 for Batman, which is like, dude, a small lottery win, and I could be tempted to buy that bad boy.
Oh yeah, I think that's going to go up quick. But the thing is, starting at that low, starting at that low, you're going to get a lot of bids, and it's going to go up, but it might not go super high. And that's the thing too with grading. Even if it's a low grade of those issues, it doesn't matter. Like I said, it's still going to go for a small fortune. So just to have that, when I covered that story over Comic-Con a few years ago about that really nice copy of Superman.
Beautiful, wasn't it? Yeah.
And they were holding it by me when I was talking to them, and I'm like, I'm just looking at it, and that's just like, I can't believe I'm seeing this thing. Let alone, I mean, I didn't hold it, but I just looked. I was like, wow, that's just so. I think these are going to go quick, and it's great that the UK is going to have a chance to bid on these. It's about time.
Well, I've got facsimile and reprint copies of both these books, and I have read them to death. I mean, the fascinating thing about both of them is Superman has changed a ton since then. He was a lot more grounded and down to earth. He couldn't fly back then, and he was almost more of a prototype Batman. He would disguise himself, catch thieves and violent husbands, and leap from building to building and scare people. But he was still super. He was still fresh and different to everything else that had come before. But looking at Batman #1, both he, Joker, Catwoman, a later appearance of Hugo Strange in this issue, aren't a million miles away from what we've got today. And that comic reads almost as well today as I think it did in 1940. I think that's probably my most read Golden Age issue. So the fact that fans here in the UK and in Europe will get a chance to not read, sadly, because that's the one thing with slabs I don't quite get, all you're going to appreciate is the cover, but to own two pieces of real comic book history, it's a fantastic opportunity. And if I were a wealthier man, I'd probably buy them both. But at those starting prices, someone is in for a bargain.
Yeah, and and that kind of opens it up for a wider segment of people that will bid. A lot more people can afford £5,000 than can afford 500,000.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's interesting too. It's that's, I don't think you see from. I mean, I'm not an auction expert with comics, but that seems to be something that you don't see very often with a book like this. So,
well, with Batman #1, people are frequently spending more than that on a vacation.
Oh yeah.
So if you think that this is a lifelong investment, $5,000 is a drop in the ocean for a book of that historical value, in my opinion.
And that's exactly what it is. It's an investment, because there's no way that that's going to go down in value. It's impossible. Batman's not going. It's Superman either.
Especially not slabbed.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere. I mean, Batman is going to be as popular as he is now 20, 30 years down the line, I bet. So yeah, it's definitely an investment.
Well, we're only 15 years away from his 100th anniversary and 14 years away from Superman's. Yeah. So fingers crossed I'll be around to witness that, because, well, you know how I feel about these characters. I've already mentioned it today. If they can get a Sensation Comics #1 out here as well, then that's the trifecta. That's the Holy Trinity. Or Wonder Woman #1 even. Actually, that'd be better. Superman #1, Batman #1, Wonder Woman #1 would be absolutely mind-blowing. But hey, it's happened now. There are copies obviously floating around the UK in people's attics or cellars or basements. So hopefully this is the first of many. And Excalibur Auctions, I salute you for getting this off the ground so quickly. So brilliant news. Right, speaking of brilliant comics news, we've spoken about it before. The departure of Dan DiDio has seen the return of many DC creators who left the ranks, including, of course, Mark Waid, and now the wonderful Andy Diggle, who has started. I've read the first issue of his new Gotham by Gaslight miniseries. It's really impressed me. Gorgeous art. Different to what we used to with the original Gotham by Gaslight graphic novels from Mike Mignola and Eduardo Barreto, but still very in keeping. And the Krypton twist as well. And now we've got the trailer for the new DC Elseworlds imprint as well, which looks absolutely beautiful. I love the way they're getting these comics and animating them in 2D to make these trailers now. What did you make of it?
Yeah, they reminded me of motion comics, which I don't know are still a thing. I think they were fun. I remember
I've got the Watchmen one, and I love it. Yeah,
that was a fun read. These Elseworlds look like a lot of fun. I just recently kind of caught up. I have to read part 2, but on the DC Vampires, both All Out War parts 1 and 2, and the DC Vampires part 1 and 2. So I'm looking forward to the DC Vampires, DC vs. Vampires, Elseworlds. And yeah, the new Gotham by Gaslight, bringing the Kryptonian thing into it is great. I'm looking forward to the all-winter Deathstroke in the the series he's connected to. But I'm looking forward to that. Just all of it. And it's a shame that Elseworlds ever went away, especially in these days and age of the multiverse. They missed out on some possible cool opportunities. So I'm glad, as an imprint, I'm glad to see it come back.
completely. I mean, I've been an Elseworlds fan from day one. I've still got, I think, the original 10, 12 books. But to me, in some ways, I count a lot of the Black Label stuff as Elseworlds.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Because it is. I mean, it's not set in our universe. I mean, the recent Batman: The First Night, outstanding. Have you read it? It is terrific. So good. And obviously Batman Damned and all those, we know they're not quite in continuity. So I'm counting a lot of the Batman stuff, actually a lot of the stuff that's come out on Black Label as Elseworlds. And if they actually rebrand those as Elseworlds as well, moving down the line, now we're definitely getting the Elseworlds imprint back. All the better for fans who want to know what Elseworlds is about. And what it's about is literally brand new takes, sometimes horrific, sometimes funny, sometimes so surprising that you'd wondered why no one's ever done them before, or why they've done them now, because they're so shocking in cases. That the Elseworlds imprint is just a winner. And to bring it back, like you said, they should have done it decades ago. It's just such a great way of telling new stories with characters we think we know. And that to me is always going to make me want to read more.
Now, you brought up a good point about the whole Elseworlds labeling as opposed to Black Label labeling. Do you think that's going to confuse consumers when they go to pick up these books?
It didn't when Vertigo folded and all the Sandman titles came out as Black Label. But it just makes me wonder why they folded Vertigo. Black Label for me is usually more adult content, though the recent Boy Wonder limited series, which is awesome, by the way, the Damian Wayne series, is still a comic I'd hand to a teenager. So I think the whole Black Label thing's getting a little bit confused. So I do believe that rebranding it all to Elseworlds will actually make more sense, particularly with the stories that are out of continuity, which is most of them.
Yeah,
Batman, Gargoyle of Gotham. They're nearly all out of continuity. So the Black Label stuff only really works for maybe the Batman Joker recent team up, which you can fit into continuity in some places, and a few others. But the rest of it, it's more or less Elseworlds books. But yeah, I see your point. Some people might get confused by it. But if I see Sandman, whether it says Black Label on it or not, I still read Vertigo.
It's just, I'm so part of it, into it, that to me it's like breathing, so it's not going to be confusing to me because I follow this stuff so much. But I just wonder, those people who go to the superhero movies and then once every time a movie comes out, they'll wander into a comic shop. That's the kind of thing I wonder. But
recently on social media, I saw a guy who was part of a DC Comics group, 1939 to present, and he's asking why Batman looks different, and it's a photo of Azrael when he was Batman. And he said, "Oh no, I don't read comics." I said, "Then why are you in a comics group?"
Right.
Because no, I only watch the movies. Well, that's why you don't recognize that armor then, isn't it?
Yep.
Fans, Brad, fans. We're the real ones. I just do not understand it. But hey, each to their own. So 20 people either attacked him saying, "Learn to read," or the movies and TV are watered down versions of these characters, or why are you in a comic book group, bro? But hey, what can you do? But hey, let's stick to the positives and keep on with the good news. And this for me is fantastic news. How often do you and I wax lyrical about the young adult graphic novels that DC is bringing out? And when you see that they're going to the trouble of getting some smaller books retailers to get signed copies that you can pre-order, and Gozu Yukazu, who's done the latest young adult Barda graphic novel, which I'm very excited about, has signed a ton of books which you can pre-order directly from the bluewillowbookshop.com. And I just think this is a wonderful, lovely idea, and I hope it spreads. What about you, sir?
Yeah, it's great. It's a great way to support smaller bookshops, and it's a brilliant idea. And I think that a lot of people that go to bookstores are these younger fans that are really into the YA stuff. I think that that's still really popular. So I think that's very smart, focusing those books as the ones to be signed and released to these smaller stores. I think it's a brilliant idea all around. And if you can support your mom and pop bookshops rather than Amazon, things like that. But it's a brilliant idea.
I mean, do you think it's the author's local bookstore and that's why she's doing it? Because that happens a lot in the UK. Because Neil Gaiman doesn't do conventions anymore, but he does do bookstore signings. And next time he's in London, I am going to kill to be there. But do you think that's why?
I think it could be. Yeah, I think that would make sense. Yeah. So I think that's a good theory. It's quite possible.
It's a wonderful idea.
Yeah.
Such a simple, cool idea. And if it gets, like you said, more kids reading comics now, more teenagers reading comics now, our future as nerds is settled because there'll be another generation coming to take over.
That's what it comes down to. You have to appeal to the younger generation to keep it going.
And maybe one of those guys will be rich enough to buy one of those slabbed copies of Superman #1 or Batman #1.
Yeah.
and then thank us for doing this great podcast and gift us one of them. But hey, I'm dreaming. What can you do? Now, that's the comic book news done. All of it good. And there's some great other news as well. And again, something you and I talk about frequently is the quality of all the statues, top range action figures and fine art prints that the wonderful people at Sideshow Collectibles release. And this Ben Affleck portrait with a quote from the Zack Snyder movies it's stunning. It's called A Beautiful Lie. It's available from Sideshow and it is beautiful. I mean, what did you make of this piece of art, Brad?
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's got the stamp of authenticity. I think a very low run. And you can even get it framed, which is what I would do. I mean, why wouldn't you? I mean, it's beautiful. As such a big Batman fan, this would be something that I'm sure that you would love to see hanging in your Batcave. People may have their issues with Ben Affleck's Batman. I do not. I enjoyed him.
I'm a huge fan.
Batman. Yep, I'll take it. But even so, you have to admit that this is beautiful. The way the light is shining on the bat symbol, it's just gorgeous. Sideshow definitely means quality. Like we talk about the same way McFarlane Toys means quality. Sideshow means quality in statues, and now in these art prints, it's beautiful.
I mean, to me as well, the other thing is, even if you're not a big fan of Ben Affleck as Batman, this piece of art by itself could just be a great Batman piece of art. So whether you're a fan of the actor or the movies or not, what wall in any man's Batcave, in anyone's collector's room office would not look better without this painting on it? So it's that simple. Ben Affleck fan or not, it's a gorgeous piece of art and it's a gorgeous piece of Batman art. So if it's in your price range, if you can afford it, do check it out on either the Sideshow website or on Dark Knight News by searching A Beautiful Lie. And you'll see a gorgeous piece of art that'll fit in any Batman's collection, I believe. I mean, would you agree with that?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, 100%.
It's just nice. Absolutely. Now, this next story blew my tiny little mind because, A, I don't drive, but boy, if I did, what car would I want more than a real life, fully functioning, road legal Batmobile? Now, the incredible German-Italian manufacturer Automobilini Farina, which makes me wonder whether our friend Tony Farina's got stakes in this company or not, and he did it just for me. Again, I'm dreaming. Have released 2 street legal, stunning Batmobile-inspired cars, which have blown my mind. What did you make of this story?
Incredible. I living around New York, I don't need a car, which has always been kind of something that, coming from the Midwest, I don't miss driving. I just don't. But man, these are incredible, and this just goes to show Batman's popularity. You have everything
Oh
from
yeah.
the Batwheel show for little kids to a freaking Batmobile that you can buy and drive. You can't
Toys
get
for the
more-
grown-up boys.
You
Yeah.
can't get more than that. I mean, this is just perfect. It just shows that, like I said, Batman's not going anywhere. The world cannot get enough of Batman. And even as we talk about the popularity of superhero movies ebbs and flows, Batman just stays eternal. There's just such an appeal to the character. And who wouldn't want to drive a real Batmobile? What Fred would that be among your nerd friends if you pulled up in that? I kind of hope that they bring these to the cons to show off. I think that would be great. Having a booth for these, so
could you
see
imagine?
them, because they do that a lot with these cars. So my fingers are crossed that I'm not
they
going
bring
to
the movie ones, don't they?
Yep. So why wouldn't they bring these? Now, I'm not going to San Diego this year, but I am, most likely going to go to New York. So hopefully, I'm hoping that they'll have them there. I'd really like to see it in life in person, and it would be great just to sit in the driver's seat for a second. That's something that you have to be kind of selective at cons with your line time, but this is probably something that I would, wait in line for, just to sit in the Batmobile.
Absolutely. That makes two of us, bro. Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean,
so yeah,
as soon as this story broke on X, I thought I have to write this up as an article. I researched the company, the fact it's fully electrical, so it's not going to be a gas guzzler. It's going to be street legal and environmentally friendly. The cars, both of them, are mind-blowingly beautiful. And the fact you can get a Bruce Wayne version, which looks like Bruce Wayne's car from the Dark Knight trilogy, or you can get a full-on, all-black, fully lit Batman version, is like, it's genius. And the other thing about it is I do believe we'll see them in the UK because the manufacturer has got UK showrooms. Again, I don't drive. I live in London. The public transportation system here is second to none, one of the best in the world. But damn, if I could afford one of these babies, I'd learn to drive. Fully electrical, automatic. I could probably do it even in my later years because these things are stunning. And if they bring them to a con, bro, I'm with you. I'm sitting in that car and having my photo taken until the people in the crowd and the queue behind me want to shoot me. But I just wear my Batman hat and say, DC Comics News, Dark Knight News, boy, back up. Because, wow, absolutely wow. And what a great story to end on. Unless, of course, you have any more DC-related goodies and stuff you want to talk about that you've been up to since we last spoke, my friend?
Let's see. No, I've been reading-wise. I've been deep into the new Stephen King short story collection that just came out. It included a sequel to Cujo, so I've been reading that. But I did pick up a copy of Batman Harvest Breed for a good price, and I did read that.
Very nice.
Yeah, which was that took me back to those earlier days of comics when I would discover something more adult and be like, "Wow, what is this?" It kind of took me back. So that was kind of a fun story. What about you?
Well, I just wanted to bring up one thing. It's June, so get onto your local bookseller because the box set of the two Jill Thompson Little Endless books is out this month. And I know those are books that you want. I know they're books that you'll love. Forget whether they fit in continuity or canon or not. They're gorgeous. They're adorable. If you've got young nieces and nephews, they can read them with you. Everybody wins with these books. I just wanted to remind you about those because any day now, hopefully I'll be getting my review copies too.
Yeah.
So that's one thing to look out for.
I could be wrong, but I looked on the Midtown Comics site. They always put on Wednesday, they put out what's coming out next week, and I believe those were listed. So
awesome.
They're coming out real soon, maybe even this week. So yeah, that's definitely something I've got to get my hands on.
I want a photo from you the minute you grab them.
Yeah,
and
it might be a little bit.
I want a Brad review over WhatsApp or Slack as well to let me know what you think, because you're just going to look at them, and even if the story is a bit simple, but it's not. It's lovely. The art.
Yeah.
Oh, the beautiful painted art. And if they've still got the little special features and sketch sections at the back like the original prints had, I mean, I probably think they've expanded them. They probably add more. But I can't wait. And with Death of Death Store getting a new edition as well in a couple of months, I'm just praying they do the fourth book. They do the Dead Boy Detectives one as well. Mine is battered.
Yeah.
So I need a replacement copy of that one.
They should, because Dead Boy Detectives are kind of
because of the show.
Now. So yeah, they should.
Outstanding. Right, so that's it. That's another episode in the bag. That was episode 195. 5 more to go, or 4 plus the big 200. But let's see if we can get some of the rest of the gang in. But if not, listeners, viewers, this dynamic duo is here to stay for the foreseeable future. But until then, until episode 196, Brad, where can people read your work, hear your voice, and find you on the internet?
Oh, you can find me writing news and reviews at dccomicsnews.com. You can find me also writing the occasional review for Merc with the Movie Blog. And you can follow me on X, Twitter, whatever you want, at FlickyB1. I frequently excrete as well, mainly just sharing my news stories from DC Comics, News, Dark Knight News, and Fantastic Universes. So catch me at LStevo, EL_STEEVO. But other than that, go to Google, type in Steve J. Ray or Fantastic Universes to catch all my features, news, reviews, and interviews across Fantastic Universes, Dark Knight News, and of course the great DC Comics news as well. You can hear me most weeks recording I Am the Night with my cub Adam, the weekly breakdown of Batman the Animated Series. We've just recorded the final episode of the TV show itself, but we've got 3 movies to talk about: the Batman Superman movie, Sub-Zero, and Mystery of the Batwoman, before we start our new show, probably in a few months' time, Batman Beyond the Night. We will start reviewing every episode of Batman Beyond, and catch those on the DC Comics News podcast feed along this wonderful show that I record most weeks with brother Brad. But until you do, readers, viewers, listeners, there's one thing you have to do, and that is to read
more comics. They're delicious, and they're good for you.
Yeah.
Take care, all. See you soon.